Howdy folks, welcome back to another episode of Supa Hamsta Plays Kingdom Death Monster. As ever, do me a favour, hit the thumbs up button on this video, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. So, in the last episode, we completed our first hunt phase where our intrepid survivors went out and looked for a level 1 white lion for their first true hunt. One thing, just in case you haven't seen that video, in the settlement phase video I was talking about this equipment that we've given to two of our survivors, who incidentally will be played by the same miniatures, but I've put them on an extra tall base. So I'm just blue tacked an extra base underneath just to make them a bit taller so they'll stand out on the board. But yeah, they had this equipment, and I was reading this as if I had a blue connection I would get +1 evasion, and if I had a red connection I would get +1 evasion. But in actual fact, if I have both a red and a blue, I get +1 evasion. So not quite as good a combo as I thought, but you know, when the thing's hitting on anything but a 1, hitting on anything but a 2 is effectively twice the dodge ability that I had before. As ever, to try and save a bit of space, I've got Meninga and Vola, which are the two characters with the sword and the extra armour, and I've got these two, Mithrax and Esmeralda, who don't. Just off to the side of the board here, which you can't quite see, I've got one of the grids set up with all of the extra equipment. These two everybody has, these three just these two. What else is different to the first game we played? Terrain. We have 2 patches of tall grass which you can hide in, and it makes you a bit more difficult to hit. We have a large stone head that's supposed to stand up quite tall, so it blocks line of sight. You can climb on top of it, and it helps with ranged weapons. Pardon me, with ranged attacks, but nobody here has a ranged attack, so it doesn't really matter. And these two are acanthus plants. The scenario for the white lion dictates that you will always have 2 pieces of tall grass and then 2 random terrain cards that are shuffled, and you dealt 2 more, and we got the giant stone head and the acanthia plant. You can attempt to harvest the acanthia plant, but there's a pretty good chance you'll get injured and not much that you'll gain from it at this point, so we probably won't bother. So the only really important one is the tall grass, which when you're in it you get +2 evasion, so even harder to hit, and you can spend your entire turn essentially hiding in the grass, in which case the lion will lose track of you. If you didn't see the hunt, we found a unattended lion cub who we killed off and got some extra resources, and we found a scratching post with a claw embedded in it. So we've already got these 5 resources before we even start. All we've got to do is survive the encounter to get it all back home. We successfully snuck up on the lion, so it doesn't get the ambush bonus, which means it'll go first, but we don't have to skip our first turn, so it doesn't get a double turn right from the beginning. Stat-wise, the lion is basically the same as it was in the original encounter. Can move 6, and it's got a toughness of 6. The big difference is the AI deck. In the original one, it was 6 cards, so effectively 6 hit points. In this one, it's got 10, and they're random. Oh, and its toughness goes up to level 8. I hadn't noticed that. That could be a problem. It's a bit tougher than I thought. So I guess the one we encounter at the beginning is a little baby lion. But yeah, so there we are. I'm going to keep, like I did last time, I'm going to keep this card here. It should normally sit over there, but I'm here, so it makes sense for it to be here. I've got my pencil this time, I've got all the dice, I've got the marker for who is the current player, and the one thing I don't have is the card for who is the controlling player. So I'm going to pause the video, grab that card, and then we'll get started with the lion's first turn. See you in a minute. Right, so I've got the monster controller card, and once again I think we're going to start with Meninga, because I want these guys to start getting in the fight straight away, because they're the ones with the armour. So normally he would be hitting them on most attacks. You're hitting on a 2, then becomes hitting on a 3 because of his sword and his parrying ability from his equipment. 4, 5, so considerably better than last time. So let's have a look. Ground fighting. Mood. The monster flops onto its side, waiting for the attackers to draw near. While ground fighting is in play, do not draw an AI card. When a survivor spends actions in the zone of death, which is any surrounding space, before resolving the action, the monster performs a basic action with +2 speed and +1 damage, targeting the survivor. When the lion is wounded, discard ground fighting. Right. So it's just going to sit there and play dead, essentially. Okay. And that's its turn. So, okay. So that's what it's going to do. So that's its entire turn. I can live with that. So now it's Argo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, do I want to come out? Or do I want to run in? One, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next turn we can get all the way up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in the next turn we can get round and hit it in its blind spot. So at least we're going to get the bonuses for that. Yeah, I think. So that's the end of our first turn. And ground fighting says don't draw any AR cards. So basically it just sits there until we decide to do something. So it's actually a pretty good card from our point of view, because it allows us to get into position. It's just when it hits us, it's going to hurt. Okay, so we will. So let's run up to there and run up to there. I think these guys, we're going to stay there. Yeah. Now I'm just going to check there's nothing weird about hitting something when it's lying down or anything like that. So I'm just going to pause it briefly here while I check that. But that's the lion's turn. It's, according to the card, just lying dead. Yeah, so I'm just going to double check when I've not done anything weird, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I checked, and we're not doing anything wrong. Although I did notice that that card was around the wrong way, so I've moved it. Just rotated it so that the art's looking up rather than sideways, because these stones here at the bottom. Yeah, the example of ground fighting is actually used as the example of a mood card in the book, and it quite clearly states that the lion basically just sits there until somebody attacks it, and whoever does is going to get hammered. And that particular person is Myth. He's going to take one for the team. So it performs a basic attack, which, if you recall from last time, is a speed of 2, so it gets 2 dice. Only this particular action is +2 speed, so now it's got 4 attacks, all of which doing a bonus point of damage. So normally it would be a 1, but now they're hitting on 2s, and they're doing 2 points of damage each. 1 and 1. I guess he was expecting us to attack it from behind. Okay, so he's been hit twice. So we'll roll for 2 locations, and that would be chest and hand, neither of which he has any armour in, so he's going to take a couple of wounds for there. So that's a couple in there and a couple in the body. Okay, so that's all of his wound boxes in both the body and the legs, and he's been knocked down, which isn't a great start, but there you go. I'm just turning him around so you can't see the ugly half-painted base, because frankly it's ugly and half-painted. Okay, so that interrupted his action and has cost him his action, but now we'll carry on with our turn, and let's see what Meninga can do with his shiny new sword. So he gets a speed of 2 to attack, hitting on 6s, although he gets +1 to that because he is in the creature's blind spot. So these will be hitting on 5s. 1 hits, 1 misses. So we draw the hit location. In the soft underbelly. A debilitating blow to the soft belly. So now we roll for damage, which, say, it's normally a toughness of 8. But he's got +2 strength because of the sword, so I need 6s. So it's wounded, but it's not critical. So he's done a wound. We take the top AI card, and it goes to the discard pile. The ground fighting card goes to the discard pile, and that's Meninga's turn. So that would be his movement or his action. So now we can do his move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, we're running for. Actually, let's go back with our original plan. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we can't get there. Myth's in the way. Silly myth. Okay, let's see what Vola can do. Again, she's got the sword, so it's 2s, hitting on normally 6s, but with 5s. 1 hit, 1 miss. Hit location. The fleshy gut. Obviously, this thing was lying that way, with its guts facing outwards. Its reaction, it would be a failure, so we don't want to not wound. So normally we need an 8, but again +2, so we need 6s. We have failed. The white line swats back, perform a basic attack against the target. So 2s hitting on 2s. She has evasion 1 because of her sword and parriness, so hitting on 3s. Both hit. So she takes a point of damage to the chest and the feet. So she will take a point of damage to the feet because she doesn't have any armour there, and she's lost a point of armour to the body. Could be worse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's also running for cover. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's run for this piece of cover here. What are we going to do with Esmeralda? I think Esmeralda is probably just going to run for a bit of cover. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that'll work. Over to the lion's turn. Draw its card. Size up. Pick a target. Random threat in its field of view. Field of view, if I recall, is the front half. So it's our friend Esmeralda here, who obviously got its attention when she ran away. You know, run away from a thing. It tends to hunt, chase. But it's doing an intimidate target. The monster stares down its prey. Turn to face the target and roll a d10. On a result of 4 or more, they suffer 1 brain damage. It does. Esmeralda's slightly insane, which actually works to her advantage at this point, and she drops to a 1. So that could have been worse. And that's his turn. Right. Well, Myth had the the luck of being knocked down in the human's turn, so he'll actually stand up at the end of the lion's turn. So he's now a threat, technically, and isn't in the safest of spots. But I think I'm going to move Esmeralda out the way. And Myth is going to take his swing, and then he can run afterwards and go 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and then he can get out of the way. So we'll do that. So he's going to use his Founding Stone. Hits on a 7. That one misses. That one hits. Where does he hit? In the heel. You clip the tense muscle of the heel. Does he wound? So he normally needs an 8. It's got a strength of 1. He needs a 7. He doesn't. But it doesn't have any reaction. He just runs back there for the relative safety. Meninga's going to move into here, and Bowler's going to come into here. So Bowler is now the controller. Let's give her a go. What does the lion do? Revenge. Pick a target. The last survivor to wound who is in range. That would have been... Was it Meninga? I think it was Meninga. So it's going to go for him. And he's going to move. And then he's going to attack. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got movement to spare because movement's 6. He will now do a 2 attack with hitting on 2s with 2 damage, and it has an ongoing effect afterwards. So 2 attacks. Hitting on 2s, but he's got +1 evasion, so it's hitting on 3s, and he's in grass, hitting on 4s, hitting on 5s, so 5 or more. 1 hit, 1 miss. Hiding in the grass worked. Pardon me. Where does he take the hit? In waist? It is the waist, and he's got armour there, so 1 gets through, and then he takes a hit. But he's okay. But afterwards, we trigger this effect. The white line isolates its prey. Full move the white line away from all threats, and the target suffers grab. Place the target knockdown in front of the monster. Target suffers 1 damage per monster level. So it's charged in, grabbed Meninga, I think on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and dragged him over there, and then knocked him down. Which seems a little harsh, and he'll take a point of damage in the waist, which is his last point of damage in the waist, although actually I've crossed off the wrong one, so I will correct that. And he's taken a 2nd point of damage in the waist, which normally would knock him down, but as he's only got he's already knocked down from the grab, he doesn't actually suffer any negative effects there. So that wasn't great, but that's the end of the lion's turn, and it's Myth's go, and we need to re-evaluate because that wasn't how this turn was supposed to go. We're supposed to be luring him in. And I'm kind of tempted just to stay there. I think we'll move Esmeralda here. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep her out of the way. Although she doesn't need to come that far down because he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He can't get to it anyway. But yeah, these guys, I think they're going to stay here. Because all the time he's knocked down, he's not a threat, so it'll ignore him, which means it's going to come for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and it can't reach Esmeralda here, so the logical threat would be Vola. So that'll do for their turn. We'll wait our time. Esmeralda's now the controller. Where does the lion go? Bat around. Pick the closest threat facing in the rear. There isn't one. Closest threat in field of view would be this guy. Right, so can he climb over someone who's knocked out? Let's find out. Okay, so quick check of the rules. Down survivors do not block monsters. In fact, upright survivors don't. He will just charge through him and he suffers a collision, which in this particular case just causes knockdown. So basically it just bounds over him. Here's 1, 2, 5, 6. But it can't attack diagonally, so it doesn't attack this turn. Yeah, so it's doing its thing. That's fine. And that's its turn. So it doesn't get to attack, doesn't get to do its next thing. And now we move on to Meninga. Now he was knocked down by the lion's last attack, wasn't he? So he will now stand back up at the end of his turn. And yeah, it's Meninga's turn. Well, to start with, let's have him run up and hit it in the back, like the heroic fool that he is. So his accuracy is 6, but he gets the +1 for hitting in the rear, or in the blind spot, so he needs a 5. Both hit. First one. You attack them in the throat. Does it wound? He needs an 8 with +2, so 6. He has wounded, so goodbye AI. That's all to do with critical wounds, so not applicable. And the second hit, in its fuzzy groin, hit the monster right in the ding-dong. Also wounds, but nothing critical. So yeah, that was a bit of a successful revenge thing. I'm guessing he stabbed it as it rolled over him. He just shoved his sword up and it got injured on the charge over. That's the little story that's in my head, and we're going to stick with that. Vola. I'm going to move across so she can attack. Again, 2 attacks. Only hitting on 6s, so she doesn't get any bonus hits on 6s. 1 hit. In the ribs. If she wounds it, it will attack. So she needs a 6. It's a critical wound. Critical wound cancels the reaction of this card, and you force the blow breaks the white lion's ribs, weakening. The target, the white lion now suffers -1 toughness, so we'll get basically +1 to hit. So there's an injury for us, and it loses one of those. What else can we do? I think now's the time to pile in, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Founding Stone will be hitting on 7. 1 miss, 1 hit. In the flank. Applicable. What you got, Esmeralda? Hitting on a... normally would hit on 8. She gets +1 strength for a Founding Stone. Hits on a 7. And because of the toughness, it's on a 6. Does. So, wounded. So it loses another AI. But it has a reaction. If wounded, the cat hates this. The monster's very upset and attacks. You gain the priority target. She's now a priority target. And myth, what can you do? 2, 3. Let's get you in there as well. Again, hitting on 7s. Nothing. The end of another survivor's turn. So Esmeralda here is the priority target, which basically means if the lion ever has to choose a target, it will pick her. She has got its attention basically by kicking it in the ribs, which are probably already quite sore, having been broken by Vola here. And it is now the monster's turn, and it's going to be Vola. Right, what does the lion do? She's getting quite low on health, which is a good thing. Combo claw. Pick a target. Hello, target. Facing it in range, closest and blah blah blah. Hits. 2 hits. Hits on a 4. And if it deals damage more than once, we draw an extra AI card. So if both of these hit, it basically gets another turn. And they both hit. And if this attack deals damage, which it does, so she's going to take 2 hits. 1 in the head, 1 in the hand. So she's going to take a wound to the hand. And a wound to the head because she has no armor, and she gets knocked down. Having been targeted by the priority, she loses the priority. And he gets to go again with his last AI card. Maul, pick a target. The victim of grab last round. Nobody got grab last round. The closest knockdown survivor. Oh, I'm sorry, Esmeralda, he doesn't have it in for you, or he does have it in for you. So 2 attacks, hitting on 2s, doing 3 damage each. And there's some bleed and bash to be involved here. So does he hit? 1 hits. 2 hits, doing 3 damage. So the first one is in the hand, and the second is in the body. Well, the hand is going to get through, and I think she's going to use her survival point to try and dodge the body. So we'll get that out of the way, and she's going to be knocked down and take a critical in the hand. So let's find the critical injury table. They are the D10s, aren't they? So 2. The vision fades along with the sight of the mangled, armless torso. She dies of shock. Esmeralda has died. Goodbye, Esmeralda. That lion was not happy. It did not want her to do well. Obviously got hit in just 1 too many tender spots. So that's our first death of the campaign. Poor Esmeralda, who was a little bit batty, and now she's a little bit stumpy, and apparently that wasn't enough to keep her going. That's not good. Okay, carry on. Yeah. Okay. Myth. What you got, Myth? Well, you can hit it, can't you? And then run away. So we will do that. So, Founding Stone. 1 hits, 1 misses. Hits in the tail. He gets hit in the tail, and it runs directly away. So move a full move forward in a straight line. Cancel all hits now out of range. Any survivors passed over suffer grab. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll plonk him down there. So grab. Place him knocked down in front of the monster, and he suffers 1 damage, which is in the waist. He still has armor there, so he's just taking a bit of a battering, but it's run off. That wasn't the plan. Although that happens afterwards, so we still get to roll for it. We could do with a critical at this point, couldn't we? So he will be hitting on normally an 8, +1 for the stone, +1 because of the wounded rib, so 6s. Got a 6. So take one of these AI cards and we'll discard it as another injury, and then in retaliation it runs off and dumps him there. And that's our go. Or that's Myth's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can get these guys up and hit it in the backside, giving them +1 to hit. So they will need normally 6s. They need 5s. Come on, Meninga, what you got? 1 hit and 1 miss. In his knee, when you hit the lion, you hit the white lion's sturdy kneecap. Can we wound him? Normally needs a 6. No, sorry, normally an 8, 7, 6. Need a 5. It does. Make another wound as we clip this thing in the knee. And let's bring Vola into play. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And she can hit it. Also needing 5s. But not today. Lion's turn. Size up. Pick a target. Random threat in its field of view. If there are none, sniff. So let's have a look at the sniff. The white lion sniffs the air and ends its turn. Until the end of the next round, all survivors are now threats, despite any effects saying otherwise. The white lion sniffs the air and ends its turn. Until the end of the next round, all survivors are now threats. So yeah, everybody's a threat, even this guy down here on the ground. And then the monster stares down its prey. Turn the monster to face, so we'll just turn it around and roll a d. The monster stares down its prey. So everybody's a threat, so it intimidates everybody. So on a 4 or more, everybody will take brain damage. So we'll start off with Myth. Yes. So that's his brain damage. If he takes any more, bad things will happen. Meninga. Yep. And Vola. Oh, yes. So brain damage for Meninga. And Vola loses a point of insanity as she probably just shouts back at the thing. But that could have been worse. That's the end of his turn. So Myth can stand up. Let's go with Meninga. What you got? 2 attacks, hitting on 6s. Both hit. First one. Hits in the elbow. If we fail, we will take an injury. So 7, 6. Need a 5. We have failed. Full movement forward in a straight line. Cancel all hits now out of range. Any survivor passed over suffers grab. So it then charges off that way, taking these with it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they get dumped down, and they both take a wound. There's bowlers. There's Meninga. Meninga takes one to the waist. He's going to dodge that because that would be an injury. And she takes one to the chest. And we'll get Myth to just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, not a great turn for the humans. Back to the lion's turn. Maul, pick a target. Victim of the grab last round. They were both victims of grab, so we'll go 1 to 3. It grabs Vola. It does not. It grabs Meninga. Move and attack. 2 attacks hitting on 2. Oh, this is the really bad. This is what nearly killed Esmeralda. This is the beatdown one. Could do with losing that card. So 2 attacks hitting on 2s. But they do have evasion 1, so we'll be hitting on 3s. One of them misses, one of them gets through, which hits in the chest. He has armor 1, so that's now armor 0. And he takes 2 wounds to the chest, which would knock him down, but doesn't actually get through. He is still alive. But he's going to be down for this turn. And after damage, the target gains 1 bleed token and the target is knocked down. I don't have the tokens out, so I'm just going to write bleed on his chart there. Bleed tokens. Essentially, 1 does nothing. If you ever end up with 5 of them, you die. So he's okay for now. And that's the end of the lion's turn. So Vola will stand up because she was knocked down in the human's turn. And what are we going to do? Let's activate Esmeralda's dead, so it's Meninga's turn as the controller. I'm sure we're out of sync there because I keep forgetting to do it. But yeah, there you go. So let's bring her round. And she can hit it in the flank. Needing 6s. Oh, not the time for Snake Eyes. Myth, you're going to get stuck in? I think you kind of have to, don't you? So, coming up from behind, hitting it in the rear. So hitting on 6s with the bonus. Both hit. First one. Hits the beast in the scapular deltoid. So if we fail to wound it, it's going to run. So we better make sure we wound it. And we're getting +2 the roll, so we need 6. That'll do it. So it loses another AI card. And the second hit hits it in the maw. Let's see if we can do this one as well. Again, needing a 6. Critical will be really nice. Critical it is. So that cancels the reaction. The blow destroys the white lion's jaw. Persistent injury, no jaw, which affects some card. Roll a d10. On a 5 or more, the white lion's jaw flies off its face. The attacker gains +1 courage and +1 survival. So it takes his survival back up. And his courage up. Go Meninga. Mithrax. Sorry, Myth. That's another persistent injury. So it's got a broken rib and it's lost its jaw. This lion is taking a bit of a hammering. But so are we. Lion's turn again. What have we got left? Oh, it was an injury, wasn't it? So it loses that one. So it's only got 2, which are kick the snot out of people with huge amounts of damage and look at them and shout. And today it will... Beast Controller becomes Vola. It's going to beat the snot out of people and shout. Closest knockdown target in range. Meninga's going to get another beating. Hitting 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. Both hit. Where does it get hit? Both in the feet. He has no armor there. But the first one's going to give him an injury, so he's going to have to use that survival point and dodge it. And the last one is going to give him more injuries. So let's roll on the feet table. Should we? Just here. Oh, Meninga, roll high, buddy. 5. Hamstrung, a painful rip. The leg is unusual. No, the leg is unusable. You can no longer use any fighting arts or abilities. This injury is permanent and can be recorded once. Gain another bleed token. So he's on 2 bleed tokens now. And does he have any impairments or abilities? Abilities and impairments. Would that be an impairment? I suspect it would be. So that would be hamstrung. This injury is permanent. So yeah, hamstrung. And he's knocked down again and gains another bleed. So that's 3 bleed. That's not good. We need to kill this thing off pretty quick, or he is not going to be long for this world. Human turn. Myth. What you got, Myth? Or no, let's let Vola get stuck in because she's got more weapons, more likely to do some damage. Hits with a 9, misses. Where does she hit? In the beast's femur. The blow lands on the monster's leg. Roll for injury. Normally needing an 8, a 6, needs a 5. Yep. Which means the only one it has left is its maul attack. So we could really do with taking that out. Myth, what you got? 2 attacks. It's in the blind spot, so he hits with a 6. The beast's paw. Let's not fail then, shall we? So he's normally hitting on a 7. Normally hitting on an 8, 7, 6. He has done it. It does indeed lose its last attack. But it's not quite dead. So it does get another turn. And it will perform its basic action. Closest survivor in its field of view. Nobody is in its field of view. Because he's not a threat. So it sniffs. The white line sniffs the air and ends its turn. Until the end of the next round, all survivors are now threats despite any other effects that say otherwise. So it just sniffs. So it knows where everybody is. Human's turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's charge in and hit it in the flank. Because, you know, finish it when it's down. Oh, but he will stand up, being the end of his turn. In which case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll let him run round and hit it in the rear and get the killing blow. Bit of revenge for you. And they both miss. He's obviously quite traumatized from having his leg ripped off, or half ripped off. We'll let Myth go next. Both hit. First hit hits it in the ear. If you can get a wound, that'll finish it off. He cannot. If he fails, the white lion jumps back. Without turning, move the monster one space directly away from the attacker. Cancel all resolve hits that are now out of range. So it just jumps out the way, which is a shame. And now we can get in there with Vola. I'll have her last 2 hits. Hitting on 5s. Both hit. First one. Hits it in its strange hand. 8, 7, 6. Needs a 5. Fails. Instinctively strikes back. Perform its basic attack against the attacker, which would be 2 attacks hitting on 2s with 1 damage each. So it hits with both. 1 to the head, 1 to the chest. How's she looking stat-wise? Head can take it. And what's the other one? The body. If she takes the hit, it knocks her down, which means it doesn't get to get. She's going to use a survival point and dodge, which means she does get her second hit, which will hit it in the head. So if she wounds it, it would attack back, but it will already be dead, so it doesn't matter. So if she can roll a 5 or more, job done. Kills the lion. And our characters survive. Well, 3/4 of our characters survive this particular encounter. So I'm just going to put all this stuff away, and we'll work out what resources we got from this encounter. And you know what? No, let's do that at the start of the next settlement phase, which will be in the next video. So 3 survived, 1 lion dead, which has got its horribly unpainted face, we'll put it that way. And poor Esmeralda did not survive the encounter with the level 1 white lion. Thumbs up in sympathy on this video for dearly departed Esmeralda. Thumbs up on this video for dearly departed Melinga's hamstrings. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well, so in the next video you can find out what happens to our intrepid survivors as they go about scavenging this lion and this battlefield for parts. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.